Tick tock. Trump's teasing something big. Quote, "Fear not, great people of Minnesota. The day of reckoning and retribution is coming." 47 saying, "Sayonara, Somalis." He just ended their temporary protected status, something Democrats have used for years to let illegals flood the country. We gave Somalians temporary protection 35 years ago. Biden renewed it on his way out the door right after he pardoned his fam. But Trump says time's up.
They're scammers. They're scammers. They always will be. And we're getting them out, and we're not going to pay them. They came from a place with nothing, and they come here and they drive around in Mercedes-Benz. You know, the Mercedes-Benz dealers do well in that area of Minnesota. Can you believe it? They have nothing. They get welfare payments, and they have Mercedes-Benzes. It angers me so much.
81% of Somalis are on some kind of welfare. They came here for a free ride. That's not the American dream.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
Your tax dollars are now the #1 funder of al-Shabaab terrorists. That's not a conspiracy. That's Minnesota, 2025. Watch 90 seconds. You won't believe Trump's brutal response. $250 million feeding our future fraud, fake kids meals. $399 million in 1 year for autism therapies that never happened. $104 million in ghost caregivers. Feds confirm millions wired back through Hawala, straight to al-Shabaab's bombs and machetes. Counter-terror source to investigators. Minnesota taxpayers are al-Shabaab's biggest donor. November 21st, Rose Garden. Trump signs the order. TPS for every Somali in Minnesota terminated. Effective immediately. No appeals. Flanked by Tom Homan, he declares, "We just stopped American money from funding terrorists." Ilhan Omar erupts on Capitol Hill. "This is cruelty." Trump fires back on Truth Social. "Good. Fraud ends today. Billions stolen. Terror cash cut. Innocent Americans protected." Finally, justice has a border. Follow for more stories the mainstream won't touch. Follow.
Trump is about to deport hundreds of Somali Americans right now. I'm gonna break it down for you. So on November 21st, Trump announced via Truth Social that he's terminating TPS for Somalis in Minnesota. And the reason he's doing this is because he has accused the Minnesota Somali community of fraud and money laundering. But as of now, he has offered no public verified proof of that. According to the congressional data, around 705 of them being Somali-born people in the US currently benefit from TPS. And the DHS actually extended and redesignated Somali's TPS status on July 22nd, 2024 into March 2026. Legal experts argue that Trump does not have legal authority to unilaterally revoke TPS designated by law, especially for a particular group in one state. Civil rights groups are calling that this is politically motivated and discriminatory, and courts are likely to step in. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you agree with Trump or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments.
Past 30 years, Somalis have been under TPS, temporary protected status in America. Now, usually you only give TPS to some after an earthquake or a tsunami because you can't immediately send them back home to their country. In this case, Somalis just don't want to be sent back home. Somalia is obviously in Africa. It's a third world country. It's a mess because they can't figure out how to govern themselves. But it's not undergoing a natural disaster, so why are they not being sent home? Lord only knows, but after 30 years, President Trump is finally doing away with that policy. He's ended TPS for Somalis. And I would just love for them to stay forever, except the problem is that this group is not assimilated. They view themselves as separate people. They're police officers, they're local leaders, they're news people. They all speak Somali. They do not respect native-born Americans, and in fact, they refer to their white police officers as foreigners. They have ubiquitous control over law enforcement in Dearborn, in Minneapolis.
Support everyone, and because like people deserve to be here because we shouldn't be illegal when this is literally like stolen land.
Hello everyone, it's your girl Scholar, and on today's topic, I'm not gonna lie, the energy around this whole Somali TPS situation is crazy right now. So everywhere I look, people are talking about the Somali TPS being revoked, and then you've got Trump coming out saying Somali should be deported back to their homeland. And the reason being pushed, a sudden rise in fraud cases in Minnesota, and we all know about that, how Nick Charlie exposed the Minnesota fraud, and somehow Minnesota is now being labeled a crime state. Like overnight, Minnesota is no longer safe, and it's all chaos, it's all protest going on. And what's bothering me is how fast the narrative flipped. Suddenly it's not about specific cases or individual accountability. It's Somalis did this, Somalis ruined Minnesota, send them all back. But before we dive in ahead, let's first watch how people are reacting to this Somali TPS being revoked, and then we're going to come back with a full commentary at the end of the video. And guys, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Kindly hit that subscribe button. Remember, I'm on a journey to 1,000 subscribers, and I can only do it with you. Let's get into it.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care.
Over 70% of Somalians living in the UK live in government housing, and over half of them are either unemployed or economically inactive. The average IQ in Somalia, by some estimates, has been pegged at around 68. To put that into perspective, an IQ of 70 is the standard clinical threshold below which you are generally considered to be intellectually disabled. Trump's words may seem harsh, but we have to stop pretending like immigration from every country is the same. Like Ben Stiller is over here preaching to everybody that this country was built on the backs of people who came from other places. Where did they come from, Ben? It wasn't Somalia. If a person is coming from a country that is economically and culturally vastly different than our own, they are probably not in a good position to contribute to our society. It is not our government's responsibility to take care of the entire world. Our government's responsibility is to our government's citizens.
We do not blame the lawlessness of an individual on a whole community. What we also know is that there is not a single evidence that the president or his coolies have put forth that there are any single resource from taxpayers in Minnesota that has gone to aid and abet terrorism. That language is dangerous. That language puts the lives of Somalis not only in Minnesota, but across the country in danger. And if the president believed that and he had evidence, he would take people to court. So we are sick and tired of the president waking up one day and deciding to put forth falsehoods and demonize whole communities while the ignorant people that support him then take the lies that he's spreading and use it as a fact. We've seen it during the campaign where he said Asians were eating cats and dogs. We've seen his vice president repeat those lies. We've seen the media run it as a headline as if it was a fact. That is shameful. That is shameful. That is ignorant. It makes us look like a stupid nation that does not believe in truth, but traffics in lies. It makes the world mock us, and we are better than that. We are better than that as Americans.
I hate that I will never experience the happiness that Somali haters experienced when they actually thought the TPS program affected more than 9 Somalis. Like, they really thought that was it. All the Somalis are just going to disappear. Like, poof, all of a sudden, no Somalis. Cedar Riverside is Mexican neighborhood now, or maybe not even a Mexican neighborhood. But yeah, it would likely just go become a Mexican neighborhood. Yeah, and then of course Somalis have to be buzzkills by informing them of how many people that shit actually affects. You should have just let them be happy, you know? Hey, how about this? You pretend to deport us and we pretend to be deported. Deal? Once again, for those who don't know, Somalis came to America in one big lump sum. Now, we came all at once in the late 90s, early 2000s. By the 2010s, 90% of us were citizens, and by the 2020s, 99% of us were citizens. The immigration process has nothing to do with us anymore. Right? It's done. It's ball game. You might have had something back in 2005, but it's 20 years too late. I promise you, the Trump administration tried to look at ways to deport us and found out they genuinely had nothing. Like, it's decades too late. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to collect welfare and impregnate a white woman. See ya.
And if you saw this news right here, that the United States is going to revoke the temporary protected status of Somalis, and you were like, oh no, calm down. First of all, they've already tried to do that with Haitians, Cubans, Nicaraguans, Afghans, all the countries for people of color who have TPS status. And they got blocked. Why? Because the law requires 60 days advance notice, and they usually don't do that. And then secondly, it requires that whatever reason they're here, that the United States granted TPS status in the first place back in their own home country has been resolved. Why do you know it hasn't been resolved in any of those countries? If you go to the United States State Department website, all of those countries are listed as unstable countries that Americans should not travel to. So which one is it? Are they unstable so Americans can't travel there, or are they safe enough so the TPS status is revoked? That's why they lose all the time, not because of activist judges. Now, you also should know, it doesn't really that matter, because while 750 Somali people would be impacted by that, there are 169,000 Somalis already naturalized Americans. So too late. Too bad, so sad. But you tried it. Change it legal. Each one teach one. Share this video so more people know.
They should have come here legally then. Well, what do you say now that they are literally taking away the naturalization and taking away work permits and citizenship from Somalians on March 17th? Ones that have already been here, that are in the TPS protection program. We are now just backtracking and changing all the rules, and all of a sudden they don't count anymore? That they're not citizens anymore? We're not going to protect them anymore? What's your excuse now? Because these people did it legally. These people did it the right way, like you want everyone to do. So what's your excuse now? Somalia is a better country now, so they need to go back home. Really? Because there's a travel advisory out and has been out for years. Many of these people have been in America for the past 34 years since we enacted this program in 1991. Many of them had their children here. These people aren't even from Somalia. Their children aren't. What are they going to go home to? Many of them don't have anything to go home to.
Somalis may have to go back to Somalia. President Trump has proposed to end TPS status for Somalis. Most Somali immigrants in America are here on a temporary protective status. Basically, their home country, Somalia, is unsafe, so they're here on a work authorization. However, if that's to be ended, things can happen for the Somali community. First, the loss of legal status. Secondly, they're not able to work in the United States. And then most importantly, the risk of deportation. There's a huge Somali community in the Minnesota-St. Paul area. And of course, if the TPS status has ended, it will affect their community tremendously. What do y'all think?
Somalia, come to the front, come here. I heard that y'all's TPS is up on March the 17th, and y'all gonna have to get the fuck out of here. You stop, don't you run, don't you... Beep, beep.
No human being is garbage. No human being is garbage, Mr. President, and shame on you for saying so.
An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us.
When a few people commit crimes, it does not implicate an entire community. And to say so is racist, xenophobic, and just wrong.
When you wake up and find out your temporary status is gone.
Trump administration is ending the temporary protected status of Somali migrants. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem telling Fox News, temporary means temporary.
Yep, that's the definition.
Country conditions in Somalia have improved to the point that it no longer meets the law's requirement for temporary protected status.
Which means you good, boo. You can go home.
Further, allowing Somali nationals to remain temporarily in the United States is contrary to our national interests. We are putting Americans first.
We got till March 17th to get the heck out, but I love how little mama says, oh, no. He doesn't have the power to do that. How people think that Trump can't make a call or two before he gets on social media. Yo, I'm just calling to make sure that I can remove this temporary status bullshit real quick before I post this. Yeah? Okay, cool. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, a bill was introduced like a week ago to get these MFs out.
Today, you introduced a bill that would terminate temporary protected status for people from Somalia.
Somalia and also 17 other countries that have people that are here illegally, that have no business being in this country at all, that want to see harm done to my fellow Americans. And what prompted this was the complete derelict of duty that we saw from Governor Walz and what happened in Minnesota. These people, according to my bill, will now have about 180 days to self-deport, and that goes with them and everyone else from the other 17 countries.
Duh. Like, why would you have a law that says you cannot be an illegal immigrant and your punishment is deportation, and then have a law that protects illegal immigrants from deportation? What Democrat wrote this bullshit?
So did y'all hear about the TPS? Trump is ending the TPS for certain Somalians, and they'll be required to leave by March, I believe. I don't know the exact date, but they're gonna have to leave. So all that frauding and ha-ha-kiki-ing and stuff like that, and making fun of people, talking about motherfuckers is lazy and on welfare when y'all is the biggest welfare recipients right now. That's being basically plastered all over the nation on nationwide television. Come on now.
Look at this. Any place you walk, you see all of that everywhere.
Hey, Minnesota, have you seen this? Trump ends special no deport deal for Somalis in Minnesota. Thousands next in line. TPS is a temporary no deport pass given to foreigners from troubled countries. Trump just revoked it for 700 Somalis and is teeing up thousands more for removal in March 2026. Until we figure out how many illegal aliens came across the border while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were president and vice president, and until we find those hundreds of thousands of kids that are missing, I say all bets are off. Stop allowing people in right now until we can get this under control. And if there are people here on temporary visas and they're about to expire, you guys got to go. You just got to go. We're full. We're fucking full. And what I've been seeing in this country in the last 10 years with every flag out there on the streets except American flags, and you guys are good with that. The only time you pull out an American flag is when you want to burn it. I say, get them out. Bye-bye. See ya.
I got Somalians as neighbors, and I talked to one of them. And I asked him about this whole Somalian fraud that's going on in Minnesota. And one of the guys explained it to me this way. He said back in Somalia, a lot of them come from clans. And Muslims have this thing where their spoils, even their Prophet Muhammad, whatever, he would go out and plunder people, and the spoils of war would be considered rightfully theirs. And whenever they would go to a place and they would subjugate the non-believers, they would put a tax on them. So he's like, the Somalians believe in Minnesota, their plunder is rightfully theirs, and it's just a tax that the white people are paying for the Somalians, to the Muslims, to the non-believers. And so they do not comprehend the Western laws. They don't understand it. It doesn't compete to their Sharia law that they're practicing. And so this outrage, and so he explained this one little thing to me. He's like, in their religion, they're permitted to lie. So when you see all these Somalians in Minnesota, being outrageous that their fraud is being exposed, he's like, they're permitted to lie. They're permitted to tax the non-believers. They're permitted to practice their Sharia law. They're permitted to plunder because in their belief system, it is rightfully theirs. So they don't understand why all these people are upset about, all this fraud that's going on, because they've been practicing all this stuff they've been doing in Somalia. They just brought their belief system here, and they do not understand why everyone's outraged. And, so that's just And I was like, well, that kind of makes sense. I guess if you raised up in one belief system, you went to another, and then, you know, you're upset why they're upset that you're marrying a 6-year-old. That's kind of been happening. So that's quite interesting. But here in Idaho, there's a very good Somalian population, and three doors house from me, a Somalian family lives, and sometimes I would talk to them. So it's interesting.
I just know you all seen that one video of the Somali old heads coming together being like, oh, Trump 2025, Trump for president. And they went on a podium endorsing Donald Trump and supporting his campaign. Now, it didn't even take a full year before Donald Trump turns his back on these old heads, telling them, I don't want you nasty Somalians in this country. The same exact old heads who were endorsing and supporting Trump's campaign are now being insulted on national television. Now, ain't this karma at its finest?
And now I'm watching comments online, and I won't lie, there are American citizens who are happy about the Somali TPS ending. Like, they're openly celebrating about it. They're saying things like, finally, it's about time you guys headed home. And I don't think it's fair, but at the same time, I think it's fair, because you cannot be feeling unsafe in your own land because other people are making your own country unsafe. And the part that is wild to me, because TPS isn't some loophole, it's legal. I know it's temporary, but it's still legal. These are people who followed the rules, built lives, raised families, and paid taxes. Some of them don't even know Somali the way people online think they do. And yes, fraud is real, crime is real, and no one's denying that. But crime didn't magically appear because of one community, and Minnesota didn't become unsafe overnight because of immigrants, because that is the thing everyone wants us to believe, because fraud has been going on everywhere. But since Somalis have now been exposed for fraud, what I'm seeing right now is frustration in America being redirected. It's high cost of living and broken systems, anger at the government, and instead of fixing those things, it's easier to point at immigrants and say they're the problem instead of fixing your own nation. And TPS expiring just gave people an excuse to say the quiet part out loud. I just keep thinking about the same regular Somali families in Minnesota who are chilling, they're working their ass out and minding their business. They're now being painted as criminals because of headlines and comments. And honestly, I think everyone is just going to face the wrath because of a few individuals who made it worse for all of them. So this whole thing feels less about safety now and more about politics and perception. I don't know, man. This conversation is getting uncomfortable right now, and it's not even ending. It's back to back, back to back. It's protests every day. It's the ICE just killing people recklessly in the roads. And once people start celebrating other people's fear, you gotta ask where this is really headed to. So let me know what you all think in the comments, because this isn't just about Somalis anymore. It's about how fast a whole community can become a target. And it's not the Somalis only. We have seen so many communities being deported back to their homelands. Hey guys, I want to hear from you. How do you feel about the Minnesota fraud that Nick Shalley recently exposed? Do you think it's judging the whole community and everyone feeling like they are all fraudsters, or just a few individuals who are really messing it up for the whole community? And do you think the Somalis should really and actually go back to their homeland, or they can still be given another chance and for their TPS to be extended for longer? Because some of them are American citizens, some of them are really doing great and really paying taxes and really doing good jobs, but these few individuals who are really messing it up for them, really making things worse. And what I think people should do is, or other Somalis should do, is call them out for their BS and actually protest for their deportations too, because if they're really messing things for them, then they're really not needed there, right? But let me hear how you all think about this. And finally, credit goes to all the respective owners of the clips and content used in my video. Your thoughts and perspective, guys, made today's work possible. I wouldn't do this without you. And if you loved this video, don't forget to leave a like. Don't also forget to leave a comment. Share this video widely. It helps the channel grow. And majorly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Remember, I'm on a journey to 1,000 subscribers, and I wouldn't do it without you. So see you in the next video.